In this video, I will be answering a viewer question on how to improve their habits and studying routines to do better in school. So let's read this question. It comes from Chronicles of Georgia, who reached out to me via email by finding me on YouTube and then finding my website. So she writes, "Hey Will, my name is Georgia. I came across your YouTube channel 2 days ago, and I'm already liking the emails that you're sending." She's referring to my email newsletter, which is free and you should sign up for. It's on my blog. Anyhow, just wanted to say thank you for helping us students by giving us tips when it comes to studying and forming habits. I was wondering if you could give me tips or any form of advice/encouragement on how to study and not get bored. I haven't figured out what type of person I am when it comes to studying in terms of morning or night. But once I start to do, I do well. But I get bored later and end up procrastinating whether on going back. Have you got any advice that you can give me or tips? Whatever will be great. I also have problems on making to-do lists. I don't tend to write a lot of tasks, which is good because I find it overwhelming if I do. Instead, I write like a few, but I still don't manage to get all of them done, which annoys me so much. I really don't know what to do. There's so much more work to be done and my exams are soon. What do you think? Also, I'm thinking of getting this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I thought maybe you might have read it. If you have, is it good? And do you have any other book suggestions? Successful/self-development books to be specific. Okay, so I'll cut off the email there. That's pretty much it. Yeah, a lot of answers to this question. First and foremost, you're already on the right track because you are invested and interested in learning how to improve yourself. Most people don't even make it to that step. They're not aware enough. They don't believe that they can, and they don't take action and start to learn on how to improve. So now that you're there, what can you do to improve specifically with not getting bored and procrastinating? Well, I will say, first and foremost, you are young, as you mentioned, and you're still learning about yourself and learning who you are, which is very normal and to be expected when you're still young and trying and testing different things out and experiencing the world and experiencing who you are. So keep on that journey, and soon you'll start to, well, maybe not even soon. Maybe it'll take a long time sometimes to figure out who you are, but keep trying and testing out. So in terms of morning and night, that's something else that you should be able to figure out in due time. Maybe a few weeks of just being aware of it, trying to see if you're a morning or night studier. You'll figure out which works best. I was the same way when I was trying to figure out when do I write best. Because I do a lot of writing for my blog and elsewhere. Turns out after a few months, I figured out I'm more of an early afternoon person. That's probably where I'm most strong. Anyhow, in terms of actually not getting bored and continuing to study and stay focused, I want to be frank in terms of the long-term solution, because that's probably most important. I'll talk about short-term solutions too, but long-term, that may be a sign that you're not interested and passionate enough about this topic. And you know how a lot of these self-development people or successful people say, you have to find your passion and do it and just follow your passion. That's something that you have to consider. So in the long run, you have to realize that, maybe this is just a subject that you don't enjoy, and that's fine. And then once you, choose a job or choose a major in college, that's something you don't pursue. Rather than continue to try and force your way through it. That's something many people have learned the hard way. I mean, I stuck with pre-med for a very, very long time until I finally just decided not to do it. It took me way longer than it should have because I just kept trying to push at it when it was clear that I wasn't passionate enough in the topic. Now, some successful entrepreneurs like Gary Vaynerchuk will go to an extreme and say, if you're lazy and you're procrastinating and you hate it and you're bored, that's a sign that you're actually very smart and hardworking. You just haven't found your passion. Is it true to that extent? I wouldn't count on it. There's plenty of people who are actually haven't tapped their potential in terms of working and improving their work ethic muscle. And even if they found something they're passionate about, they could still be very lazy about or not as effective as they can be. Plus, there's definitely some stuff that even if you're bored or dispassionate about, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that you should always give up on. It's just a general indicator, a guideline rather than a hard and fast rule. And what I mean by this is there have been plenty of topics and hobbies that I didn't like because, and I learned later, it was because the first teacher I had was a bad one. But I gave it a second, a third chance. I found a different teacher and I really enjoyed it. This happened with CrossFit. This happened with certain martial arts and certain dance instructing. It's happened with certain classes in school. Used to hate history. Many teachers just made history so boring. And then I started to find new ways of really enjoying history. Some of those YouTube videos that animate history was one of those ways. So that could be another approach. Before you give up on it in the long term, you could try out different things. And, maybe go on YouTube or something, find an entertaining way of digesting the same information. There may be animated ways of getting that done. Now, in terms of short-term solutions, I'm already starting to move towards that with the whole animated tactics things. But I believe the Pomodoro technique, which I've done videos on for many years, is one way of just kind of rejuvenating yourself. Spend 25 minutes focused activity, then take a 5-minute break. That type of bounce back is a great way of recovering your focus and energy levels. And continuing to stay focused without getting super sidetracked and distracted. I think one of the keys for the Pomodoro technique is you use that break for things that won't suck you in. So take a walk instead of surfing social media. In terms of focus, I have to say, oftentimes it really does come down to that willpower, that mindset, that motivation, and that passion. And some of those things just may not be there, and you sometimes have to take an L and say, this isn't my area of expertise, and that's okay. And realize that you don't need to get straight A's to live a great life or be successful. In other areas, you can use certain tactics and tricks to do well for the short term or even midterm. There are certain things you can do on improving willpower and improving your discipline that has some level of crossover. That's why you mentioned book suggestions. I recommend the book Willpower by Roy Baumeister. I link it in most of my videos in the description. I also recommend Cal Newport's book, How to Get Straight A's. Those two books do a great job of really improving your success in life and your ability to stay focused and stay disciplined in all those areas. A lot of the book focuses on constructing a good environment. If you have a good environment that doesn't drain your willpower, you have more of it to store for your focused activity. So if you could reduce the amount of needless decisions you make, for example, the types of clothes you wear, or even things that frustrate you or tempt you, if you could take those away, you can reserve your willpower for what's most important. Studies have shown that even small things that challenge your willpower in small ways can be used almost as a method for improving your willpower on a long-term basis, just like a muscle. And these are small things, just like brushing your teeth with a different hand, or doing willpower strengthening drills. I think working out and just continuing to push your comfort zone is another way of gradually improving willpower. In terms of other questions you asked, you said you have problems with your to-do list. And here's another huge point, people are different. People don't realize this, but one piece of advice doesn't usually work with every person in the world. with 7 billion people in the world, there's many different flavors of personality and studying methods that work best with your personality, your values, your goals, your routines, and your genetics. And we all have different goals and abilities and personality styles. And one magic pill doesn't work for all of that. So while a to-do list could work really well for someone else, that may not be a great fit for you. In terms of how you do approach a to-do list, if you continue to do it, it seems like you're the type of person who really beats themselves up or gets overwhelmed when there's so much on there that you don't have completed. I would suggest you just delete anything on there that's low priority, minor, low impact, or pointless. You know, some people just stuff their to-do list with random stuff like, oh, I'm going to take a dog for a walk. I'm going to, do 10 push-ups. I'm going to lift some weights. I'm going to do my laundry. I'm going to create a song on TikTok. So a lot of these things are just like fun to do. Maybe some of them are errands that you need to do, but some of them are like things that you wish you could do. But, you got to sift that out. You have to focus. And those are just going to distract you and waste and pull you in many directions. Maybe choose 5 big things that you have to get done. When I would get home, it was as simple as homework and study for tests. So that was 2 things, and that's it. I mean, and you could break that out for every class, but it's still like, do I have any homework for history? I do? Okay, finish it up. I just got to complete this, get the participation points. Done. And then study. Okay, when's the next test? Let me do 20 minutes of daily studying for that so I'm ready when that test comes. What do I need to study? Okay, let's review. Let's repeat. And that's it. So, usually you have to change your mindset with your to-do list. It's not about having it annoy you so much that you really don't know what to do and you feel like you haven't accomplished everything on there. It's not about being a completionist as much as it is about doing what's most impactful. And if you can get some or all of it or even a little bit more than you used to, then you're off to a great start. So there's that. I would say one more book I would recommend if you still, I love recommending books. Thomas Frank has a book called 10 Steps to Earning Awesome Grades While Studying Less. A little bit of a clickbait title, but a great YouTuber and great book that will probably help you out a lot. So there you have it. I think a lot of these tips are stuff that, I have mentioned in other videos, so definitely check those out for more detail. But I did answer some new questions and new ideas here. As far as Atomic Habits by James Clear, great book. Sold 1 million copies or something crazy, and a short amount of time. And it's well deserved. He's one of the top personal development blogs, and he has been for a while, along with Mark Manson. So it makes sense why his book would do so well. I've read it. It's pretty good. For any beginner, like a lot of very good stuff. For me, since I'm very experienced in this field, most of the stuff was already something I knew, but I still learned some tidbits and strategies and new ways of looking at it. It's really well written. So I recommend you check it out. That's it. I don't want to belabor the point. Subscribe. I'll see you later.